And now let's have example 4. This is the problem. Sketch the graph of y is equals to 3 raised to x, y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 1, and y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 2. Describe the graphs and states its properties. So first, for our solution, we need to compute the function values and list the results in the tables. So what are those function values? So we have the domain and the range. So let's compute, then write it in the table. So solution for our first function, we have y is equals to 3 raised to x. So let's substitute values for your domain, all the real numbers, because it's in the form of f of x equals to b raised to x. So your domain is set of real numbers. So we have from negative values, so we have negative 2. Y of negative 2, we have 3 raised to negative 2 equals to 1 over 3 squared. So law of negative exponent, that is equals to 1 over 9. So 3 squared, that is 9. 1 over 9. Next, we have y of negative 1, that is equals to 3 raised to negative 1. So just substitute negative 1 to your x. So we have 3 raised to negative 1. That is equals to 1 over 3 raised to 1, which is 1/3. Next, we have y of 0, that is equals to 3 raised to 0, which is equivalent to 1. Next, we have y of 1 equals to 3 raised to 1. So 3 raised to 1 is the same with 3. Next, we have y of 2, that is 3 squared. You just substitute 2 to your x. So 3 squared, 3 times 2, 3 times 3 rather, that is equals to 9. Next function, we have y is equals to 3 raised to x, then minus 1. So substitute values, the same here, negative 2 to positive 2 for your x in this exponent. So y of negative 2, we have 3 raised to negative 2 minus 1. So this is equals to 1 over 3 squared. So 3 raised to negative 2 is equals to 1 over 3 squared. So then minus 1. So 1 over 3 squared, that is 1 over 9. Then getting the LCD of these two, the 9. So 9 over 9, it's also equals to 1. So we have minus 9 over 9 here. Then since they are both have the same denominator, which is 9, so we have 1 minus 9, that is negative 8. So over the denominator or the LCD, 9. So we have negative 8 over 9 for y of negative 2. So next, for y of negative 1, we have equals to 3 raised to negative 1, then minus 1 equals to 1 over 3. So 1 over 3 raised to 1, just 1 over 3, then minus 1. So this expression has an LCD of 3. So we have 1 minus 3 minus 3 over 3. So 3 over 3 is just the same with 1. So 3 divided by 3, that is equals to 1. So your LCD here is 3. That's why we have 3 over 3. So since they have the same denominator, let's just simply subtract your numerator. So 1 minus 3, we have negative 2. Copy the denominator, which is 3. So we have negative 2 over 3 for the value of your y of negative 1. For y is equals to 0, we have 3 raised to 0. So anything that you raise to 0 is equals to 1. So we have minus 1. So 1 minus 1, which is equals to 0. So your y of 0 is equals to 0. Next here, y of 1, we have 3 raised to 1, minus 1, then 3 raised to 1 is equals to 3, then minus 1, which is equals to 2. And last, we have y of 2, which is equals to 3 squared. So we just simply substitute the 2 to our x. So 3 squared minus 1. So 3 squared is equals to 9. So 9 minus 1, that is equals to 8. Last function, we have y is equals to 3x, then minus 2. So substituting the values for your x, from negative 2 to positive 2. So we have y of negative 2 is equals to 3 raised to negative 2, which is equals to 1 over 3 squared. So minus 2. So we have minus 2 here. Just copy the minus 2. That is 1 over 3 squared. That is 1 over 9. Then the LCD of this is 9. So we have 18 over 9 for our 2. So because 18 divided by 9, that is equals to 2. So since your LCD is 9, so we just write it in this form. We transform it in this form. So 1 over 9 minus 18 over 9, that is simply subtract your numerator. 1 minus 18, that is equals to negative 17. Then copy the denominator, which is positive 9. So we have negative 17 over 9 for y of negative 2. Next, y of negative 1, we have equals to 3 raised to negative 1 minus 2. So we have 1 over 3 raised to 1. So 1/3. Then minus 2. Then getting the LCD, we have 3. The LCD is 3. So we just transform 2 to 6 over 3. Because 6 divided by 3, that is equals to 2. So 1 minus 6, that is equals to negative 5 over 3. Copy the denominator, the LCD, which is 3. So we have equals to negative 5 over 3. So that is for y of negative 1. Next, we have y of 0 equals to 3 raised to 0 minus 2. Then 3 raised to 0 is equals to 1 minus 2. Then we have negative 1. Then for 1, we have y of 1, we have 3 raised to 1, then minus 2, so we have equals to 3 raised to 1, that is equals to 3. Then minus 1, we have equals to positive 1. And last, we have y of 2, then substitute 2 to your x, so we have 3 raised to 2, then minus 2. So 3 raised to 2 is equals to 9, then minus 2, that is equals to 7. So writing it in the table, we have this table. So we have from negative 2 to positive 2, the set of your x values or your domain. Then we have 1 over 9, or y is equals to 3 raised to x, we have 1 over 9, 1/3, 1, 3, and 9. So these values of your y. So for y is equals to 3 raised to x, then minus 1, we have negative 8 over 9, negative 2/3, 0, 2, and 8. So these y values. And last, for our y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 2, we have negative 17 over 9, negative 5 over 3, then negative 1, 1, and 7. So, how can we sketch that? So, for the second step, we need to plot those points in Cartesian plane and connect them with smooth curve. So, we have this table. So, now let's plot it. So this time, this will be our graph. So for the red smooth curve, that is the plot, the curve for y is equals to 3 raised to x. So we have negative 2, then y 1 over 9 for your. So we just can't see it because, but if we can zoom it, it will be 1 over 9, 1/3, then 0. If your x is 0, we have y is equals to 1. If your x equals to 1, we have y is equals to 3, then positive 9 if your x equals to 2. So this is your first graph. For the second graph, y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 1. So we have this black curve. So if we plot this negative 2 to positive 2 and negative 8 over 9 to positive 8, so this will be the curve. And for the last graph, we have the blue curve for y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 2. So this is your graph if you plot it. So for this, we can say that these properties for the domain, the three functions has set of real numbers. So because those composed of form, ayan, f of x equals to b raised to x. So we just have an additional constant term here. Then for the range, for the first function, we have from 0 to positive infinity. For the second function, we have equals to 3 raised to x minus 1. The range is from negative 1. So we have here negative 1 to positive infinity for your x. So negative 1 to positive infinity. And last, for the third function, which is equals to y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 2, we have from negative 2, so here, to positive infinity. So continuous. Then the y-intercept will be 1 for the first function, 0 for the second function, and negative 1 for the third function. And the horizontal asymptote, of course, this y is equals to b raised to x. The asymptote is this y is equals to 0 or the x-axis. Then for our second function, y is equals to 3 raised to x minus 1. So this is the horizontal asymptote. Meaning, it's just simply approaches this line, this y is equals to 1, but never touches. So for the last graph, we have y is equals to negative 2. So what are those? What are the remarks of our graph? So for our graph, the graph of y is equals to f of x equals to 3x minus 1. So this black curve shapes the graph f of x equals to 3 raised to x. So the original graph, which is the red curve, is shifted 1 unit downward. So it becomes this black curve. So meaning this minus 1 shifted your graph downward, 1 unit downward, because it's negative 1. And for the graph, blue curve, y is equals to f of x equals to 3 raised to x minus 2, it shifted the graph, which is this original graph, the red curve, 2 units downward. So 1, 2. So it becomes like that. So meaning that this minus k shifts the graph 2 k units downward. So negative. Since it's negative, it's shifted downward. If it's positive, the constant here is positive. It will shift your the graph upward. It will be shifted upward. So that is the fourth example.